5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to our favorite episode this year. I know we're only 3 Grand Prix in deep this season, but I think this is going to be a good one. This is the Australian Grand Prix show. Welcome to Box Goss. Ooh, 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 hey. You see, I love it that we have like a dance interlude. I think that's very important to start out our show. It's like
Yes, I agree
incredibly
with that.
important. Yes. Um, Guys, how are we feeling? We've had such a cool weekend.
It was awesome. It felt like going to a music festival, meets a film set, meets an air show, meets a demolition derby. Yeah, with a little bit of food festivalsness on the side. It was awesome. Yeah.
You lost me at Demolition Derby, but I understand exactly what you said, and I know exactly where we're going to be going with this one. Afi, are you okay? Are you good to go?
Good weekend, fun weekend. Good weekend.
Fun week. Good vibes, good vibes, good vibes. The vibes are vibing. The vibe check passes.
Oh,
Guys, we have we have such a fun guest for you. We are super excited to have her on. We met her for the first time actually at this Grand Prix, which was so cool. Usually we only get to see our guests through video screen, so to actually meet someone in real life was actually very fun. You may follow her on Twitter. She is very loyal to a very particular 7-time world champion. We're so excited to have her, and she's also a fellow Aussie, just like us. Everybody, please welcome
I missed the dance intro. I wish I was part of the dance intro.
We can do another dance intro.
Like
We can do another one. We can do another one. We can do another one. Hey, hey.
Hey.
Plenty of opportunities to dance. How are you, girl?
I am really good. I'm still on a Grand Prix high. Still like a little bit sad because it was such a great week, but I'm just riding on that Lewis P2 podium. So if you don't know, I'm a Lewis Hamilton stan. Like he is my driver, he is my only driver, and then I'm a Mercedes fan.
I think that's all of us, to be honest. Because, like, if he was still at McLaren, I would probably be repping that papaya. Like, I mean, I love Mercedes as like a car maker. Like, they're one of my favorite car makers in the world. But like, let's all be honest. Like, it's kind of like where Lewis goes. We
Oh
go. I mean,
yeah.
if he signed for
Oh
Tifosi
yeah.
right now, we
Yeah.
probably if he signed for Ferrari right now. We probably would become a part of the Tifosi.
Forza
I mean,
Ferrari.
for the Ferrari.
But how are you? Well, let's start us off by asking, how did you first get into Formula One? What's your origin story?
Yeah, that's I had a very interesting start because one, I am not like someone that avidly follows sports. F1 is the only sport I follow. So I'm gonna take it back to COVID because I was at home. I didn't really have much to watch. So I was a Drive to Survive fan. I got through the sport watching Drive to Survive, and we do have a particular stigma around Drive to Survive fans. But you know what? The first few seasons was a great way to introduce new people, a new audience to the sport in a very consumable format. So I started watching, I saw it on Netflix. There was a bit of hype around it on TikTok as well. So I started watching, and actually, I had kind of like, so when I first started watching, I actually didn't like Lewis Hamilton and the way he was portrayed in that show. They made him seem like a very egotistical, kind of cold, multi-winning champion driver. And I'm like, what is it with this guy? And so what I did was I started to follow the races individually. I got KO, I went on to F1 Twitter, and then, yeah, I just developed my own thoughts about it, started to really like Lewis Hamilton and, beyond the sport, what he was doing. And that is where it all began, I guess. And now I'm part of this really great community, both on F1 Twitter, both on Instagram, well, all the socials. And yeah, I've been loving it.
That's exciting. I love that. You know what? I think we've said this before on the show. Drive to Survive is, I think, of there is no tea, no shade about Drive to
Mm,
Survive fans. I think like this is a sport that is very gatekeepy and guarded, and like
mm.
unless you were brought into it by like a family member or you lived in a particular country where it's big there, it's not an easy sport to get into. So we're glad that like Drive to Survive has made the sport a lot more accessible. Afi, were you about to say something? Oh no, you just looked
No,
your
I
raising.
was I was agreeing. I was nodding and agreeing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So no, I mean, I'm glad, and and actually on that Lewis point, I have a friend who what's it called? She doesn't like she's not a fan of Lewis Hamilton too for those same reasons. Like he comes across
Mm.
very egotistical and full of himself, and sometimes like that. Which I mean, I don't know if I've necessarily see that, but then I kind of now I can kind of get it, and so I find it. So where would when did that kind of like turn for you? Like, was it because he was winning, because of all of his initiatives out of the sport? Like, it's actually kind of interesting to hear someone who was a deep Lewis Hamilton fan not start out that way.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think, when I started watching Drive to Survive, there were particular episodes because you might know that they focus on the teams rather than, race by race per episode.
Mhm.
So they were doing episodes and they were trying to, pit Bottas and Hamilton against each other and things like that. And then just the way they portrayed him and I guess how they cut these things, they just made him seem like, I am number one. It's me. Like I I didn't like that. I really didn't like that. But I also have a background in media and screen production. So I'm like, let me just do some extra research. Let me get off Netflix and let me just see what else is happening in the background. And so going onto Twitter and kind of just finding all this different content about him, reading like recent articles or interviews that he did, and then also just individually watching the races in that current season, which was the beginning of 2021. I just developed my own impression on him, and definitely as a person of color in his more recent interviews, I just could really relate to him, especially as he started doing work on the Hamilton Commission and Mission 44. I just felt like there was no reason to really hate him, and that a lot of the things on Drive to Survive were just to make heroes and villains in the show, which is a formula for reality TV.
Yeah, I
True.
agree. I mean, that's yes, Afi.
You know the way how you saw Lewis as like cold and number one? That's how I see Verstappen. That's like
But
Yeah,
exactly I see Verstappen as cold and I'm number one driver. But he seems like a lovely guy, don't get me wrong. He seems really nice, but like in Drive
but
to
like
Survive, I feel like that's how they portray always the number one driver.
I
I feel
agree
like
with that as well.
Yeah.
I agree with that as well. Because and that's why I had to kind of like take a step back and be like about this with Verstappen, being like, okay,
mm,
like Netflix is doing some Real Housewives kind of shit,
mm,
on that beat with villains and heroes and all that sort of stuff. Who is this guy as a person? And honestly, I don't really have. Verstappen didn't have the easiest childhood, I would say. I mean, I really
um,
don't like his father, and I'm not going to
mm,
say his name. I just really don't like his father, and
mm,
I think, I feel like, yeah, you can be a hot ass, which I think a number of F1 dads have been, Anthony Hamilton included. But I think if you put your hand on your kid and do certain things, I think you've lost the right to kind of say, but I'm just being a hot ass, which
And
came up
also
also
don't
in Saudi, I think.
we also can't forget about him leaving him at Max at a gas station too.
yes.
Yes,
That's going beyond being a
exactly.
hard ass.
So like I think for me like I kind of like I think Max is actually probably personality wise I think he's probably really cool, and I don't see why he wouldn't be a lovely person. I mean, he gets along with a lot of drivers that I like, so like I have to kind of think about it that way.
Mhm.
But yes, the way he was portrayed, I can kind of see why he's like, fuck this, I'm not gonna be on the show anymore if this is how they're gonna portray me. I'm like, you know what? I mean, that's kind of fair. But I think there's also an element to truth in that too. I think every F1 driver is an arrogant. You have to be. You have to be arrogant and full of
Yeah.
yourself
I
and
don't
back
even think
yourself.
I don't think it's you even have to be. I think it's just like you drive for F1. I would be arrogant too if I drove for F1.
Wait,
Oh,
it's like I'm rich, I'm hot, I'm after this I can retire. Like,
Well, I don't know about hot though. I think there's only a few F1 drivers that can say I'm hot. I'm just gonna be honest. I just don't. I mean, like, I don't see the appeal around a lot of these drivers. The only one,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very biased, and it's not because he's black. He's just an objectively good looking man. Like, it just is.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have started to come around on Charles Leclerc as well too. I personally would not go for a man that looked like that, but like, I
like
see the appeal.
you get the appeal. Like, I remember
Yeah,
I remember I saw a picture of him on a motorbike and I was like, okay, I understand.
yeah, he can get
it
it.
was no, y'all. That banana outfit did it for me.
Oh
It
my
was
The
that.
banana
Yeah.
outfit.
It was the banana outfit. That
Yeah.
man
I
will
gotta
pay
be
my bride
honest.
price. Pardon?
I gotta be honest, Leclerc was my entry into F1 because I saw like TikToks about it. I'm like, oh, he's pretty good looking. Like, what does he do? And then F1 and Drive to Survive, like he was my entry point, you know?
Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
feel like I think a lot of like our generation, if they were entered F1 on their own, it was probably through him because he was
Mm-hmm.
a good looking
Agreed.
man. Like he keeps
See,
popping up on like on my ads now on my personal Instagram and I'm annoyed. I'm like, no, no, no. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him, please. Um, but yeah, like, I get it. But like everyone else on the grid, I'm kind of like, okay, okay.
Yeah. If they didn't have
Like,
money, if they weren't driving a car, would you say
exactly.
hey on the street? Absolutely not.
Exactly.
Absolutely
Exactly.
not.
I would not with the majority of the grid. I just like even like people who are like into like Carlos Sainz. Are we sure you find him that good looking or
it's the
no?
hair. The
No,
hair.
Afi. No, well, Afi, your taste also in men is some way. Aside from Mick Schumacher works, but like the other one.
Oh, Lance Stroll. I love Lance Stroll
I love
though.
my
But would
okay,
you?
fuck off.
But would I'm sorry we diverted into this. Sorry, if you do not care for this, please feel free to skip ahead a few more minutes until we actually get to the race debrief. But like, if you were on the street and you walked by him, you did not know who he is, would you say yes, that man could get it? Stop lying to yourself.
No.
No, in
No.
general, just due to general anxiety, I normally look at the floor when walking, but if I saw those eyebrows, oh, I would even go, don't look at me. Don't look at me. I'm shy. Don't look at me. Not honestly, guys. Guys, he smells like money. Just like think about like it's just like
No,
it just
this is
exudes
where I wonder
money.
how we're related. This
Yeah,
is where I start wondering how we're related.
yeah.
I
You
mean,
think I'll
I
do
came to
like
meet you at the hospital and you were already there. I don't know if you necessarily, you know, actually, that sort of thing. Why? I don't know if we are blood relatives. I'm sorry. That one I do not agree with. But you know what? He's a sweet kid. And also they're all too young for me. I think the only ones
Mhm.
that are around like
Yeah.
that would be okay for me to like look up to is like Alonso and
Mm.
Hamilton. That's the classic.
Alonso. Didn't he break up with his girlfriend after the
He's
race?
available. He's available.
No, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you
He's
so much for
have you
that.
seen his teeth?
Okay, look.
Wait,
Nice
stop. Have you seen
Aside from
Alonso's teeth? They're like
I think you and
tiles.
his teeth.
They're so perfect. They're good
hair.
teeth. They're
He
really
has
good.
money. He has
He has
money.
money. Well, I have great
Money.
teeth.
I had
That's
no
it.
Kate.
I guess
Anyway,
just
guys, let's go on to
here.
the race. Enough about talking about how good looking the drivers are. Because we had such an amazing weekend! It was so much fun! Before we get like into our general feelings about the Australian Grand Prix, let me just take you through the podium results real quickly. Verstappen had a great race, even though he almost lost it when he decided to touch grass.
Oh,
Like halfway through the race. But he came, he won, he came and saw, he conquered. He finally won in Australia, so congratulations to him. Second, Mr. My tires are going. Please, your tires are never going. It's
yes.
Hamilton. Excellent result. So happy. I mean, especially I'll talk about that later. And then third was Alonso, which was very good. That guy keeps showing up on that podium. He's relentless. They've like Aston is really in it to win it this year. And
Yes.
also with that, they got a 3-4. Stroll was right behind
Yeah.
him, which is very impressive as well too for them. In a chaotic race where only 12 cars finished at the end of the day.
That was insane. Insane.
It's
It
like
was
just like a
awesome.
wild. It was so wild. Anyway, how did we feel though? Because like for me personally, I was going into the Grand Prix to have a little bit of fun, knowing that Mercedes had not a shot in hell of winning. So for us to get that close was there's true skin in the game now. I'm really excited. Like, how did you guys all feel about this Grand Prix and like you going, you attending, you seeing it live? Like, how do we feel?
Happy.
If
It was great. I mean, like, I got to see, I mean, everything about it was a wonderful time. Just from just seeing, just getting to be a part of an actual race weekend and seeing Mercedes do amazing. Like the way I kept bragging about it to my mates at school. Hey, no, but it's like it was awesome, and it's like you got that experience, and it's like I'm sad that the experience isn't gone, but I'm happy that I got to experience it. It was a great experience, like just seeing everything. And I was going into the race knowing that I wouldn't get to experience see the entire race as I would at home, but just also enjoying seeing the cars go past and everything. It was just lovely. Had a great time.
Kathy, you have thoughts?
I on this weekend, I wouldn't necessarily say that like it was the race that like did it for me, because the race was great, don't get me wrong. It was a cherry on top. But like meeting so many nice people and everything, like the food, the people, just the whole atmosphere of it. I think Australia is like a really good place to come for your first GP because everyone's just like too nice, you know. Like everyone, like once we got off the tram for practice one, like people were nice, you know. Like it was really good. I think, you know, the race being what it was and having 3 fucking red flags was just a cherry on top to it. Like having an eventful race was just a cherry on top. But yeah, I would totally Aussie GP. I would totally recommend people to come to, like for their first Grand Prix. Totally. I know it's a pain to travel to, but so good, so good.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything. Like, I'm gonna call it Coachella because it's like a music festival for cars, right? It's such a good
Right.
vibe.
Yeah.
And it's my third Grand Prix. So now I feel like when I go to a Grand Prix, especially if I know friends are going, I feel like it's spring break for me. Like, and then there's a race, right? So it was so great meeting you and like so many other people. And yes, the food was really good. We have a really good lineup in terms of music. I never get to make it, but I knew some of the headlining acts, and they're all great Australian acts. And yeah, like the race was the cherry on the top. Like it was actually probably the best race I've seen out of the 3 Grand Prix that I've been to. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
Singapore was also a little bit chaotic, but this one was just so fulfilling as a Lewis Hamilton fan to get him on that podium. Yeah.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I think it was just, yeah, it really isn't like, I think, like, I don't know what Australia does. And I don't know if that's like at the other races. I'm kind of curious to see what it is like, in Miami and what the vibe is there as well, too, because there are support races as well. But like, in terms of like the off the track action, it didn't, at times I felt like I wasn't at like a Grand Prix. I
Mm.
felt like I was at like a music festival or food festival. It was very like relaxed, like everyone was just chilling and vibing and like enjoying whatever space they're at. And the weather was, look, hit or miss the entire weekend. I mean, like the worst day was definitely Saturday, where Afi's going to tell a very interesting story about how she almost got hypothermia.
I I've never in my entire life. I've experienced winter. I was born in Utah in January. I I know cold. I know cold, but this is a different kind of cold. What kind of wind is this? What kind of wind is this in this country? Insecting into my bones, through the molecules, through my bone marrow. It was so bad. It was oh God, at the end of it, I thought I had a cold. I thought, achoo. I thought that was me. I was sneezing. It was so, I needed a warm bath afterwards. Melbourne weather is something else. Everyone told me, "Oh, you experience 4 seasons in a day." No, you'll experience the cold. What was it? The frozen century. That century where everything was cold. Then you'll experience when the
Ice Age.
dinosaurs all died because it'll get super hot. And then
Ice Age.
experience the ice age, and then thank you, Sana. The ice age. Then again, you'll experience it's multiple different things. These are seasons of don't come to this place. So only come for the weekend and then leave because the weather here is not good. Like,
No, I think Afi's over exaggerating. She did not prepare well. She didn't prepare. You didn't prepare well. No, Afi, it wasn't that bad. Okay, but I will admit, I came from New York. So like when I moved to Australia, I came straight from New York. So like I had experience, it's I don't think it gets even that cold in New York. If you go further up north of the US, it's very cold. In fact, I think even where we used to live in Utah was actually very cold as well too, because we sat very close to the Rocky Mountains. So like, snow, like Afi was very correct. She was actually born, I think it was snowing on the day that she was born.
Oh wow.
So like it was, it gets cold, but I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was like, I don't think you layered well.
oh, I was wearing
And you also
thermals.
need to cover your
I
head
was wearing
every
the
single time when
leggings.
you're in cold
I
weather.
was wearing a hoodie and I was wearing my raincoat, my G. Set up. If that wasn't layering well, I'm wearing
You wear thermals
This is
underneath?
autumn weather right now. We ain't even hit winter weather. Take me back to Africa. Take me back to Africa.
It was also windy. I mean, at
That's
a certain
what it
when
was. It was just
really
very
ended, we were at the Mercedes grandstand. It was covered, but like not on all sides. So like it was, the wind was coming in like perpendicular. Like it was like this. So like it was not fun. And we were sitting very close to the end of the grandstand. So like
Okay.
it wasn't a particularly pleasant experience. I don't know, Ari, if where you guys were sitting was covered or not on that day, but that was the worst day. That one was a bit.
It was a bad
cold.
day.
Yeah,
cold.
no. My grandstand was uncovered. It was just after the start finish line and before turn one. So it was definitely uncovered. I also was really stubborn because I wanted to wear bike shorts for most of the day. Most of the days of the Grand Prix. So I'm like, I don't care. I'll layer on top, but I'm having bike shorts at the bottom. Yeah, I regretted that because I was like chilled to my bone on, I think, Friday. I had this Mercedes jacket I put on that I bought at the grandstand on Thursday. I had my raincoat and I felt like giving up. And I was there until 7 p.m. And I was with my friend Sumi that you met as well. And we were waiting for Lewis. And I'm like, is Lewis worth this? Is Lewis worth freezing my legs off?
Sometimes you have to ask yourself the big questions. in life?
Yeah,
That's a
you
good question
do.
to ask yourself in life. And I admit, I also was stubborn about it as well too. I was like, nah, shit, I'm gonna wear it. They say sun, I'm gonna wear shorts. I'm glad that I only did it for Friday, because I think on Saturday it was bad,
Yeah.
and even Sunday, even though it was sunny out, from what you guys could see, it was very beautiful. The
Mhm.
sun was not sunning the way it needed to sun.
No, it
Like,
was.
Yeah.
It
No, it
was.
wasn't.
it
It
was
was.
not.
No,
It
because
was
ours
not.
was covered. Because our grandstand was covered, we were not feeling the sunshine.
No, that's kind of true actually. Because when I
Because
stepped out,
literally
because again,
once it was light skin, sorry, once it was golden hour, that's when like it got like nice. I was feeling the sun, so I wasn't as cold. But there was a
Yeah.
lovely
Yeah.
man sitting next to us who was wearing jeans and like a short sleeve shirt. That man is not man. That is God. We were sitting next to God because he was fine. He was like, oh, I was shivering, shaking in my boots, and this man was just chilling, literally chilling. I was gone.
I feel you just needed like a scarf and
I'm dramatic. It actually wasn't that bad. I was cold.
No, well, we did
I
have a
was
very funny
shivering.
video
I'm not
we
gonna
put up
lie.
on our story where like we were at leaving practice 3 and she was not happy, and she was waiting for, we were still taking pictures and things like that, and she was at the bottom of the grandstand looking at us like we are disappointments and we have failed her and we should be
Yeah.
moving.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, she was cranky by the end, but it got better. But yes, I think but I felt like the sun was not hitting the way it needed to,
No,
and that
it
was,
wasn't.
it was not. It was like I felt like even that.
wasn't.
So I was glad to be in long pants on that day. But yes, Melbourne weather is no joke. We've come prepared, even though, and you know what? Actually, on that thought, please move it closer to our summer. Like no more
Please.
March nonsense.
That would
This
be
this one was too
so
far.
good.
It's
Because also
That would be
then
lovely.
with daylight savings as well, that would make it so much
Yeah.
like I would rather not go home when it's pitch black out as well.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, or even move
But
it
I
back
know-
to like the start to the beginning of the season,
yeah.
because then we would have a
Even-
bit more sun.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind it being at the end of the season, but I understand that we cannot change it to be like it's always Abu Dhabi at the end of the season. So
I
but I wouldn't mind it if it
technically,
was.
should be Nah, it should be Brazil, in my opinion. We should be ending it in Brazil. Abu Dhabi should not be the final, because like that was like, at least when I joined the sport, when I say joined the sport, let's start following the sport. Brazil was the last one of the season, and it made sense because why would you fly all the way there to come back to the middle of the world, like in terms of logistics and things like that? So it's very dumb that they've decided that Abu Dhabi must have the last lot. Abu Dhabi should be the last race in that particular part of the world, like Europe, Middle East.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then you head over to the Americas and finish the race and finish the season, because Brazil is a vibe. It's a party. It's like I think it's very similar to Australia. It's like people are dancing, people having a good time, people are vibing. It's a really fun race, and usually a lot of excitement happens on that track. So like, Brazil should be the end for sure, and I do not think Australia should be put down there because that's November and it's not going to be warm enough yet in
Isn't it?
Melbourne. I don't
Oh
think
really?
so.
Are you serious?
I know it's our summer technically, but like,
It's
no,
so
it's
warm.
not. No, yeah, I know it's not our summer yet. It's still spring.
It's spring, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Our
going to be
summer
like
is
similar
like
to
December,
March.
February, January.
Yeah,
March is when
so
it gets.
it's going to be similar to like March weather, and so we may get hit or miss. It
Oh,
may
then
either
never
be
mind.
amazing
Sorry,
on
then never
Sunday
mind. I'm new
or
to this
shit on
country. I'm
Saturday.
new to this country. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean,
Well, I think last year November people still had puffer jackets on.
Yeah,
On social media.
I'm leaving this country right now.
Yeah.
I'm only prepared.
It was
I'm
not-
only
I mean,
prepared
so-
for 6 months of cold.
So I mean, we're just a bit further north from Melbourne, right? And even it wasn't particularly warm in our
No.
city either.
It wasn't.
So like, and
I mean,
our
I'm
city is
getting
known for beautiful weather. So it's
I
just
can't do
like,
it. I can't do it anymore. I'm leaving. This is
Effie,
no. I'm swimming. I'm swimming back to Africa.
you're swimming, you know we're close to Antarctica, right?
Oh, it's the wind from there. It was the wind from there that was chilling my bones. Who invited
hide in themselves.
The Pentagon penguins should have come and greeted me as well. It was that cold. It was that cold. I was not feeling it. I was whack.
Speaking of crazy events that weren't weather related, I want to quickly talk about us spectators getting in trouble with the FIA.
Oh,
If
fuck.
you remember. So
Yeah.
here's a bit. So in the chaos that was the Australian Grand Prix, right? Let me set the scene. We had 3 red flags. That is the most red flags any F1 race has had ever. So we were there for history, which I am very proud of us all. Well done, well done, well done. Because of that, this race ended under a safety car, like it should have been Abu Dhabi. And sorry, I said it out loud a little bit. And but I'll move on. So it ended under safety car. Now, before the race, we were told explicitly to not storm the track until we see a car with flashing green lights go around. Okay? Did people do that?
No.
Nope.
And because it ended under a safety car, the cars are going a lot more slower. So our people felt it's okay to rush the track early, climb on the barricades, do all sorts of things. And then around the time that I think we were actually sitting at the fan forum, I think one of us said, I think it was a say actually maybe, that said we've been called into the stewards. The promoters have been called into the stewards because of us storming the track. But Ari, I think you had a better perspective than we did because you were able to see the podium finishes because you guys were sitting. What happened?
It was crazy. So I think this was during the deliberation of the last red flag. But even before that, there were fans already lined up to the entry point near my grandstand for the track invasion. And so once, I guess once they announced, the last lap and all of that, I kind of went down to stand as part of the crowd. And then I can see, like, I'm quite short, so I really can't see that much, especially there's tall people in front of me in this crowd. But I could kind of see people on the opposite side of the track, like climbing the fence. And I'm like, guys, like, we don't have a green light yet. What is this? And then once I felt like the security personnel kind of gave up because, mind you, there was only maybe 3 people at most manning this entry point, and there's like hundreds of people going to be entering through this point of the track. So at some point, I felt like they just gave up. I'm not even sure. I'm hoping that we had the green light and they just let these people in. So I was thinking about it over this week. I'm like, did we get the green light or did these security people just give up because of this demand from the crowd and just let them in? So yeah, to this day, I'm still unsure on that. And hopefully we did get the green light. But from what I can see, whilst in this queue, is that there were people, these rowdy people, already climbing fences on the opposite part of the track. And I'm like, guys, Australians, they don't take no as an answer. They take it as a challenge. And I'm like, you better stop or else we're not going to have track invasions anymore. And it was crazy. Like, getting into the track, I felt like I was going to lose a limb because people were just running, pushing people to get into the track. And I was like holding on to my friend for dear life, hoping that I don't fall over. It was kind of scary. So yeah, I felt like the security didn't do enough.
I mean, and I think you also put it on perspective in Twitter, actually, because, like, once again, we broke the weekend attendance, like the record again. 444,000 of us showed up across Thursday and Sunday, with us breaking the record for Friday and Saturday as well. I think it was like 130,000 per day, right? So it was a shit ton of people. Like, it was a lot of people. And I think I didn't realize that there were multiple entry. I only thought that there was only the 2 entry points closer to the podium. We were able to enter well after, I think, the podium was going on. The podium celebrations were going on. We entered actually from our grandstand. I think we were at turn 10-9, right, guys? I think.
Yeah,
Do
we're
we
at
remember?
turn 10. So
Yeah. So we're at turn 10. So we were able to enter from there anyway and make it onto the track. I don't know if I remember seeing any car with green flashing lights going by. If I must be brutally as Effie.
I didn't even know that was an announcement that was made. In all honesty,
It,
I didn't hear that
it was
announcement.
it was made on social media. Oh no, and it was
Mhm.
also made up on the screens too, actually.
I
yeah,
that's the thing. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I was because all of they did. I thought they did pretty well with the organization of the whole thing. So like, they made a lot of announcements on the screen, right? But I don't know if like they talked. I'm sure they put it
Mm.
on the screen, but I don't know if I heard the announcement.
I think they like they talked about it. Like I think they actually said do not da, 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 da. I think I remember them making an announcement about it on the screens with
Yeah.
like a voiceover behind it.
Okay.
So I think like they definitely did it.
I don't remember.
But
I
like
don't personally. I probably just wasn't paying attention. But from where
but
we
I
entered the track, it was pretty relaxed.
oh
From
yeah, we were
yeah,
nowhere near the
yeah,
podium.
nowhere near.
Nowhere near. We were not even close.
No,
So like
no.
it was, but
Uh,
it was a crazy experience, right? And
mhm.
I think yeah, like you were saying, you made an allusion to that, like that for the number of security personnel that were there, I think it was like almost 1,000 to
Yeah,
130, 40,000 people. It's just
it's
not
not
enough.
enough.
It's
it's
just not
really
enough.
not.
And I think and then also begs, and I also started asking this question as well too. If so many people are showing up for this Grand Prix, why doesn't Australia or Oceania have an additional Grand Prix on the calendar?
Right.
I
Money.
mean,
I reckon it's money.
Yeah.
I just think like I think a part of it is that there's way too many people showing up for this particular Grand Prix, which
Mhm.
facts, it's a great atmosphere. As we've talked about it a lot, it's a great atmosphere, it's amazing. But like there's just way too many people showing up. This can't be the only one that Australia gets. News apparent I think we spoke to someone also when we were leaving the race that there is a certified I think category 1 racetrack in New Zealand that they could potentially race on.
Oh,
There is, I think, a number of them in Australia too. I think Adelaide may have.
yep,
We used to
yep.
host it in Adelaide.
Mhm.
You know, like we have options, and rather than it being the next best option being Singapore, because like Singapore is an 8-hour flight
Yeah.
from,
And there's Japan, which is practically 10
which is you might
hours.
as well go to Europe. You might as well go to Silverstone at that point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Japan is like only 5 hours shorter of a distance than it is from to Europe. So yeah, I think.
I love raising my hand. What's it called? With I would just like to say that again, Australian Oceanic fans are literally so strong. Again, with the fact that we wake up so many times for like 3 a.m. fucking races.
Mhm.
And then we
Mhm.
only get one race that really suits us. It's frustrating because I think from what I've seen, there's a large F1 fan base in Oceania, in Australia, right? Just in this city, in fact. Like I have classmates who come in repping their merch, their gear, right? But then what the US, that region has 5 fucking races, 3 in one fucking and yes, I know it's a big country, but 3
Actually,
in
it's
one
six.
country.
Six. You're forgetting
I
Canada.
forgot Brazil. Sorry. There's 6.
Mhm.
They have 6 races in there, and then they complain about having to wake up plenty. Please shut your mouth and pray for your blessings because be happy for your blessings. In all honesty,
Like
you have
even
5. Remember, you have 6 races. Other people
Mm.
in the world have what? Barely 2. Barely 2. We have
and
barely 2 races that we can comfortably watch.
and
But they
even
have
with
5. Again, like 5 races you could like actually go to. Honestly, Australian Oceanic fans, you guys are so strong. And I honestly deserve the world. I'll bake you cookies. All of you.
Yeah.
All of you. I'll
and
bake you
even
cookies.
like going off the point on what Afi said, I even went down to the Emporium for twice. One to actually take in like the Williams experience, and then another time to try
Mhm.
and see Alex album. That didn't work
Yes.
out well. But then at the same time, just seeing the queues. Like just seeing when I got there, I saw the queue. It's just around the building.
I was
Just
there.
really? I
Yeah,
missed
I was
you.
in the queue. I was in the queue and actually I didn't make it because there was a point where they're like, you know what? Um, there was one queue to get in to get stuff signed and one queue to just view the thing. And then the lines got too crazy that they kind of just gave up, didn't communicate to the queue that they wouldn't have a chance of getting in because Albon would only have 45 minutes signing in there. So at that point, I was like, not like my friend was like, can we just walk past the window, get a photo? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm not standing in this line for nothing. But yeah, there was so many people, and the fact, like, I think I was waiting there for at least an hour too, and they're just not communicating that,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're not gonna get into the pop-up.
See,
Like they gave us a warning when I was in the queue that, hey, around 4 o'clock, Alex Albon has to leave. But
Yeah.
when we found out that he left, we didn't even know. Like we heard a car screech and then there, it was gone. It was gone.
you see, this says a lot. This says a lot. That many people to experience some Williams exhibition. That says a lot about how many fans are in Australia. So many fans that there was a line wrapping around a building to see a Williams exhibition.
Even if they brought out Latifi.
Also, can I just say there are a lot of MoneyGram Haas fans, which I was not expecting as well.
I think it's Gunther Steiner. I bet you it's all him.
No,
that
it
man.
has to be. It has to be.
It has to
He's
be.
too good. He's too funny.
Too good. Best
I would
team
line up
principal.
for Gunther.
I would line up for Gunther too. I will get a vote for him and be like, sign my vote. Like, bring up a vote being like, yo, Gunther, sign the vote. Yeah, like I think I think if anything, this week has proven that Australian fans are in a league of their own. Sorry to everybody else. I'm sorry to anyone that's in Europe. Sorry to anyone that's in the US. Sorry to, like, I mean, maybe like the ones that could probably match that sort of energy and match that sort of like intensity would probably be like maybe Japan. Like I have mad respect for the Japanese F1 fans. Those guys are like they sat in the rain, like they sat like in the typhoon just to watch them go around for what 45 minutes. You like I think Brazil, those kind of places, I feel like they like work really hard. I think like but I think Australian fans and Oceania fans, we're in a league of our own when it comes to F1. Sorry guys. Yes, Effie.
African fans also.
Actually,
literally only just because we don't have a track. We are in a very comfortable spot so that we can watch races, like all the Europe races at least. And even the US races, they're just like, they start like 6 p.m. for us when we're in Ghana.
They start. So it's an evening race.
Yeah, they're an evening race. So they're not bad, but we work hard because we save up money to go and travel way out of our continent to go and watch a race.
The weak currency is maybe one on the continent that actually works in our favor.
Not a lot of the options as well too. Not a lot
USD, all of us are miserable.
I would like to reiterate, once there is a South African race, once that's put on the calendar, I am booking that ticket. The music, the food is going to be so much fun. Everybody will all go. I'm booking a ticket for all of you.
I want to go.
Yeah, there would be
I'm definitely going to go to that one as well too. Like the inaugural one, you will catch me there. I will be there with my Amapiano.
With the Amapiano, literally, just for the music. I'm just going for the music at this point.
Just for the music, the DJs will be fire. Like honestly, and they'll bring, and they may even bring like West African DJs as well too. So it even will be even more fire. Like the music will like. Sorry to Australian Grand Prix. The music will be insane.
What was
it
that?
Will rival, if not beat, Singapore. Mark my words. Yeah. It will. So, I mean, look, either way, there were failures, there were things. It was all a crazy race. We didn't even talk about like the actual race itself, about what went on and everything like that. But we are running out of time. Ari, at the end of all of our episodes, we like to give our guests the final word, like to send us off, or like your final thoughts about what you felt about Australian Grand Prix. It can be anything. It could be about the experience. It could be about the actual race. It could be about the cause. How do you feel? And how do you feel heading into the rest of the season?
Um, Look, I think Australia, especially this Grand Prix, is always a surprise. Like, you're not going to really predict who's going to win. And so for anyone who is thinking of going to a Grand Prix, yes, it is like a, a shit ton of like travel to get to, but it is so worth it if you want good vibes, if you want a killer race, but something not too, I guess, intimidating. Please come to Australia. We are all crazy, we're all chaotic, and it's the best introduction to F1. For the rest of the season, I'm so excited to see Mercedes just climb with the upcoming upgrades, just the potential of this car that we've kind of seen in Australia. So I'm just so pumped for the rest of the season.
Yay! Us too. I think, the W14 may have a little bit more in it than we thought. So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of exciting to see. And I think it's also kind of cool to see Aston Martin also compete, even though
Oh
it is
yeah.
Alonso. It's like it's kind of fun to kind of see them competing as well too. Unfortunately, that Red Bull car is a rocket ship, and I don't know. It will probably be down to a battle for second and third in the constructors, but
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. We still move, and yeah, at least we have a little bit more in the game than we thought. So very
Yeah.
excited. Ari, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you
We
for having
loved having
me.
you, and we loved meeting you, and you are just a ray
Oh,
of light. Tell us, where do you want us to where do you want to be found? Do you have anything you want to plug? Like,
yeah, of course. So you can find me on Twitter. My handle is plus Ari World, or you can follow underscore the 44, which is a collective group of just Lewis Hamilton fans. We really try to push like positive news on Lewis. So yeah, follow both of them, and that's where you'll find me.
yay! We're definitely already, I think we're following both. So definitely catch us over there chatting with y'all. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Pit Crew, for hanging out with us. And no, we didn't really talk much about the race, but at least you get a better indication of what to expect at a Grand Prix weekend, which we were so excited. You can see all the rest of our Grand Prix and also Formula One content on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at BoxBoxGossF1. Be sure to subscribe, and yeah, we will see you in 4 weeks. Wow, we have a little mini summer break, guys. For the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, I think we do need the break because if Baku is any indication, it's going to be a crazy one again.
Oh yeah, with that circuit, yes.
Yes. Something always
it's just,
happens there.
I love that circuit.
I know.
It's
You're
so beautiful. It's such a good
yeah.
circuit.
For you and your
So
chaotic vibes, it definitely suits you very well. We will see you soon, guys. Take care. Lots of love.